Today, we are telling the story of Wangari Maathai, a fierce Kenyan leader who stood up to powerful figures, fought for the environment, and empowered women across Africa. Her journey is one of courage, determination, and unbreakable spirit. We'll take you through her life step by step, from her humble beginnings to her global legacy, weaving in the key dates that marked her path. Grab a cup of tea or coffee, because this is a detailed tale that highlights not just what she did, but why she did it and how she inspired millions. Let's begin. Wangari Maathai was born on 1st April 1940. She was born in the small village of Ihithe in Tetu, Nyeri County, in the central highlands of Kenya, which was then a British colony. She came into the world during a time when Kenya was under colonial rule, and her family were part of the Kikuyu community, the largest ethnic group in the country. Her parents were farmers. Mutajoge, her father, worked hard on the land, and her mother, Wajiro Muta, managed the home and taught young Wangari the value of nurturing the earth. Growing up in a rural setting surrounded by lush green hills, flowing rivers, and dense forests, Wangari developed a deep love for nature from an early age. She helped with chores like fetching water, tending to crops such as maize and beans, and gathering firewood, and these are the experiences that later fueled her passion for environmental protection. She was the third born of 6 children, and her family emphasized the importance of education, which was uncommon for girls in rural Kenya at the time. Even as a child, Wangari showed curiosity and a sharp mind, always asking questions about the world around her. Around 1943, when Wangari was just 3 years old, her family moved to a white-owned farm in the Rift Valley near Nakuru. This is where her father found steady work as a tenant farmer. Life there was tough, with long hours and little access to schooling. But late in 1947, at the age of 7, she returned to Ihithe with her mother so her brothers could attend primary school, as there was no educational opportunities on the farm. The following year, in 1948, at age 8, Wangari enrolled in Ihithe Primary School, where she quickly stood out as a bright student. Her teachers noticed her eagerness to learn, and she thrived in the classroom despite the challenges of walking long distances to school each day. In 1951, at 11 years old, Wangari moved to St. Cecilia's Intermediate Primary School, a boarding school run by the Mathare Catholic Mission in Nyeri. There, she spent 4 years immersing herself in studies. She became fluent in English and converted to Catholicism. She got involved with the Legion of Mary, a Catholic organization that emphasized community service, which planted early seeds of activism in her heart. By 1956, she had finished at the top of her class and was admitted to Loreto High School in Limuru, the only Catholic high school for girls in Kenya at the time. This was a significant step, as education for girls was rare, and Wangari's family supported her fully, recognizing her potential. As colonialism in East Africa began to wane, opportunities opened up. In September 1960, Wangari was selected as one of about 300 Kenyans for the Kennedy Airlift, a scholarship program funded by the Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Foundation to send promising African students to study in the United States. This was a life-changing moment. She boarded a plane for the first time and arrived in America, far from her rural Kenyan roots. She enrolled at Mount St. Scholastica College, which is now known as Benedictine College in Atchison, Kansas. She studied biology with minors in chemistry and German. The American civil rights movement was unfolding around, and she witnessed protests against racial injustice, which influenced her views on equality and resistance. On 19th May 1964, she graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree, proud to be one of the first Kenyan women to earn a college education abroad. Wangari did not stop there. She moved to the University of Pittsburgh for her master's studies, funded by the Africa American Institute. In January 1966, she earned her Master of Science in Biology, focusing on subjects that deepened her understanding of life sciences and the environment. The same year, in April 1966, while back in Kenya briefly, she met Wangari Maathai, another Kenyan who had studied in America. They connected over shared experiences and their relationship blossomed. Upon returning to Kenya in 1966, Wangari faced her first major professional setback due to gender and tribal bias. A job she had been promised at the University College of Nairobi was given to someone else, but she persevered and secured a position as a research assistant in the Department of Veterinary Anatomy under Professor Reinhold Hoffmann from the University of Gießen in Germany. In 1967, encouraged by Hoffmann, she traveled to the University of Gießen and the University of Munich to pursue doctoral studies. This period abroad honed her scientific skills and exposed her to global perspectives on anatomy and ecology. Back in Kenya on May 1st, 1969, Wangari married Wangari Maathai in a joyful ceremony. Later that year, their first child, a son named Waweru, was born. Family life brought new joys and responsibilities. In December 1971, their daughter Wajira arrived, and in 1974, their third child, son Muta, completed the family. Wangari was a devoted mother, teaching her children about nature, respect for the environment, and the importance of standing up for justice. She balanced motherhood with a career, often bringing her kids to her workplace or involving them in her early tree planting ideas. Professionally, 1971 was a landmark year. On January 1st, 1971, Wangari became the first East African woman to earn a PhD, receiving her doctorate in veterinary anatomy from the University of Nairobi with a dissertation on the development and differentiation of gonads in bovines. She began teaching at the university, breaking barriers as a woman in academia. By 1975, she was promoted to a senior lecturer in anatomy. In 1976, she became the first woman to chair the Department of Veterinary Anatomy at the University of Nairobi, and in 1977, she was appointed associate professor, the first woman in the region to hold these positions. But Wangari's life wasn't just about personal achievements. She was drawn to broader social issues. In the early 1970s, she joined civic organizations like the Kenya Red Cross Society, becoming its director and the Environmental Liaison Center. She campaigned for equal benefits for female staff at the university and tried to unionize the Academic Staff Association. Though the courts blocked it, her demands were later met through her persistence. In 1976, while active in the National Council of Women of Kenya, where she served from 1976 to 1987, and as chairman from 1981 to 1987, Wangari introduced the idea of community-based tree planting. She saw how deforestation was devastating Kenya's landscapes. Forests were being cleared for cash crops, leading to soil erosion, dried up rivers, and food shortages. Rural women were the most affected because they walked many kilometers for firewood and water. On June 5th, 1977, which is World Environment Day, she founded the Green Belt movement, starting with 7 trees planted in a Nairobi park. The movement empowered women to plant trees on their farms, schools, and the churches, providing income, fuel, and environmental restoration. It was simple yet revolutionary. She once said, "It's the little things citizens do. That's what will make the difference. My little thing is planting trees." Personal challenges arose too. In 1977, Wangari and Mwangi separated due to differences. Her strong-minded nature clashed with traditional expectations. Mwangi filed for divorce in 1979, accusing her of being too strong-minded for a woman and uncontrollable. The court battle was ugly. Wangari was even jailed for 3 days in Lang'ata Women's Prison for contempt after criticizing the judge. The divorce was finalized and Mwangi demanded she drop his surname. Defiantly, she added an extra A, becoming Wangari Maathai. Financially strained, she took a job with the United Nations Development Program in Lusaka, Zambia in 1979, sending her children to live with their father until 1985, though she visited often. The 1980s saw Wangari's activism intensify. Kenya under President Daniel Arap Moi, who took power on August 22, 1978 after Jomo Kenyatta's death, became increasingly authoritarian. In 1982, Moi established a one-party state, suppressing opposition. Wangari spoke out against corruption, land grabbing, and environmental destruction. In 1986, the Greenbelt movement expanded with the Pan-African Greenbelt Network, training leaders from over 40 African countries like Tanzania and Ethiopia. By then, millions of trees had been planted, transforming barren lands and empowering women economically. Her fierce leadership shone in 1989 when the government announced plans to build the Times Tower, a massive skyscraper in Uhuru Park, Nairobi's only public green space. Wangari organized protests, wrote letters to international donors, and rallied women, calling the project a monstrosity that would displace people and destroy nature. The regime labeled her disobedient and a threat, even threatening her life, but she stood firm. "I don't think we should import trouble from outside when we have so much that is positive," she argued. International pressure mounted, and in 1992, the project was cancelled, the fence torn down, and a huge victory for grassroots activism. The early 1990s brought more confrontations. From 1982 to 1992, opposition was crushed, with political arrests rampant. In February 1992, Wangari joined the Freedom Corner March in Uhuru Park, where mothers protested for their imprisoned sons, demanding multi-party elections. The vigil lasted 11 months, moving to All Saints Cathedral after police attacks. Wangari was beaten and hospitalized but continued advocating. That December, Kenya held its first multi-party elections in 26 years, though Moi won amid allegations of rigging. In 1998, Wangari protested the privatization of Karura Forest, leading tree planting actions against developers. Police assaulted protesters, but her persistence saved the forest. That year, the Greenbelt movement shifted to planting only indigenous trees for better sustainability. She also launched a campaign with the Jubilee 2000 coalition in September 1998 to cancel poor countries' debts by 2000. By the early 2000s, Wangari's influence grew globally. In December 2002, multi-party elections defeated Moi and a reform coalition won. Wangari was elected to parliament for Teto constituency with an overwhelming 98% of the vote. From 2003 to 2005, she served as Assistant Minister for Environment, Natural Resources and Wildlife, pushing for protective laws. In 2004, on October 8th, she made history as the first African woman and first environmentalist to win the Nobel Peace Prize. She was recognized for linking environmental conservation with peace and democracy. The committee praised her holistic approach to sustainable development that embraces democracy, human rights, and women's rights in particular. She used the platform to address the United Nations, becoming a goodwill ambassador for the Congo Basin Forest in 2005 and co-chairing the Congo Basin Fund in 2007. In 2006, she founded the Nobel Women's Initiative with other laureates to amplify women's voices for peace. In 2009, she was named a United Nations Messenger of Peace focused on climate change. In 2010, she joined the Millennium Development Goals Advocacy Group and established the Wangari Maathai Institute for Peace and Environmental Studies at the University of Nairobi. By then, the Greenbelt movement had planted over 50 million trees, inspiring global reforestation efforts. Wangari faced immense challenges like arrests, beatings, threats, and personal hardships like her divorce and the cancer battle. Yet, she remained unbowed, as titled in her 2007 autobiography. She authored books like The Greenbelt Movement, Sharing the Approach and the Experience in 1998, and The Challenge for Africa in 2009, Urging Self-Reliance. On September 25, 2011, Wangari Maathai passed away at age 71 after fighting ovarian cancer. Memorials were held worldwide in Kenya, New York, San Francisco, and London. Her legacy lives on through her children, especially Wajira. Wangari inspires activists everywhere. Wangari showed that one person, especially a woman from a small village, can challenge leaders, heal the earth, and spark change. As she said, we cannot tire or give up. We owe it to the present and future generations. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Wangari Maathai's life. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe, and comment below. What inspires you most about her story? Share your thoughts and we'll see you in the next video.